Guys, happy Sunday. Last day of July, I think it is. Are we? Yes, July 31st. Tomorrow's a new month. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Yep, 7:31. Man, these days keep on going by. I can't believe we are already more than halfway through with 2022. Silver Surfer, how you doing? Ape Blazing, what's going on? Bart, Kenny Sucks, Jeff Dayton, Christian Princess, Tammy, good evening to you. Mud Puddle, Home Daily, Scott. Who else we got in here? Turtle, Javi G, Kevin, good evening. Maggie, what is going on? How are things up in Maine, Maggie? It's starting to cool off here, Maggie. Only the high 90s today. Just paid my electricity bill for last month. It was over $600. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Texas, right? Maymac 3, what's going on? Billy Ray. Oh, Billy 87. Sufyan, what's going on, my man? Sufyan, if you want to join in, if anyone in the Discord group wants to join in tonight on voice, let me know, and I'll hook that up. You guys can join in the voice room. I just need to unmute that tab. But let me know in the chat if you guys want to pop in and share any of your wisdom or talk about some stocks with the folks here on the live stream. PH Dragon, good evening. Chad, good evening. What's up? PDX Dave, good evening. 96 in Western Washington. Wow, that is, I would presume, unseasonably warm for Washington, right? The Massalorian, I don't know if he's watching. I see he just dropped a video. I tried to reach out to him on phone and text today, and I did not get an answer back. I know he has been moving. You know, he's doing the studio and the home move. But amigo, if you're available and you want to join in on the live stream, drop me a message down in the chat and I'll shoot you over an email invite. Six Sun, what's going on? Diaz, how you doing, buddy? BioLife Hemp, what's going on? All right, we're going to talk about a few things. I wanted to really on Friday get out a market week recap video. That didn't happen, obviously. We had a lot going on as we rolled into the end of this week with my real work stuff, you know, the things that pays the bills. And also Scarlett had a lot of, if you've been around for the past couple of weeks, you know, she's transitioning jobs to her short-term dream job working in emergency medicine with animals at a 24-hour emergency clinic. So at her regular clinic that she was working at, yesterday was her last day. We had a little celebration this weekend, 2 days worth of celebrating. We had a going away party with her staff. And then she had her official last day of work yesterday. And then today, this evening, she started her first shift at the 24-hour hospital. So it'll be critical care, emergency type stuff. You know, if you have pets, something happens in the middle of the night, I don't know, pet gets run over, poisoned, gunshot, failing organs, whatever, you got to go to the 24-hour care. And yeah, those are more expensive, but you don't have a lot of options at night when it's an emergency. So she's looking forward to, she really wanted to be in an environment where she could be more challenged and do critical care type stuff and learn a little bit more in that industry. So tonight's her first night. She's working 4 p.m. till 4 a.m. So you guys have me till 4 a.m. Central tonight, although I don't think we're going to be on that long. But no more Sunday nights. Well, maybe there'll be but at least tonight I don't have to worry about her complaining, you know, how many hours are you going to be on the live stream? It's Sunday. It's our weekend. Tonight I'm all yours, guys, as long as we want to go or until we pass out from shots. Yes, it is Sunday night. The evening streams are a little bit more laid back here. We try not to take ourselves so seriously, and there might be alcohol involved. I know that I got to give the haters a little bit of haterade. little bit of something to make it through their next week. So there might be an occasional ode to Roaring Kitty and a drink while we talk stocks. If you got a problem with that, take it up with Roaring Kitty. Grandpa Barney, good evening. The dude on the couch says we need more like Scarlett in this world. Yeah, she's so funny, guys. She was crying this weekend. She's like, I feel like I'm just abandoning all my pet clients, you know, that I've built up all these relationships. She doesn't even think about the owners, like the cats and the dogs whose health and life she's been taking care of for the past couple of years. She literally feels like she's abandoning them. So I got to tell her, look, they'll be fine. There's other qualified people at your old clinic, and you're going to meet a whole new animal family to save lives. She's got a big heart. Unlike Tony Denaro. SoCal Ape, good evening. Yuka Frita, what's going on? Tally Foreman, congratulations for 6 months supporting the channel. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Ernest Lee, good evening. Dallas T, are we drinking tonight? We're going to drink something, Dallas T. I mean, I don't think I can hang out till 4 a.m. and not at least quench my thirst a little bit. Brian says, what are the booze of choice for shots? Well, we're not doing shots tonight, I don't think. I mean, I've got a bottle of tequila, but I think we're gonna keep it low key and mix it. I'm finishing off we had one Corona left from the little party we had last night, so I'm sipping on that right now. Derek says, what do you think about the pounce? What do you think the pounce will be from Adam Aaron? Let's just jump right into AMC. I've got a lot of topics I want to cover with you tonight, and I know from the questions that were stacking up before this live stream started, you guys have questions on other stocks too. So we have plenty of time to get to all of those. And I'm sure there'll be people that come in later and ask the same questions. So I'm going to try not to repeat myself, but we'll go through each one by one. And then if maybe someone has a new question, something we didn't already cover, we can talk about a topic again. I did do a video this weekend, one that I've been wanting to do for a couple days, about what to expect for the AMC earnings. So that was out this weekend. Go watch that if you haven't watched it. And thank you to all of you who did watch that. I just want to say off the top, this is my model, my estimate. It's a spreadsheet going back several years. Obviously, I had to throw out most of 2020 because of the pandemic thing. The numbers are a little squirrely. But in a nutshell, what I do is I take a look at quarterly box office numbers and the financial statements from the company and create a formula to extrapolate box office numbers into top line revenues. And then once you have top line revenues, you got to go through the income statement, look at the expenses and the income items, and make sure that everything is accounted for. And the thing that can throw you off, there's a couple things that could be incorrect in my video. Number one, I could have made a bad assumption about, or a bad model assumption about what the top line revenue is going to be. So I think I said 1.3 billion would be AMC's top line revenue. If the top line revenue is lower, then the earnings that I forecast could potentially be a little bit worse. If the top line revenue is better, then the earnings that I forecast could be better than 19 cents negative. So that's just an assumption based off the model. I was within 5% last quarter. We'll see how I do this time. I'm not saying that I'm going to be dead on. I could be way off, right? But every quarter that I get new data, I'm able to refine the model. So it's kind of an experiment in progress, and I'm just sharing that with you guys and giving the haters something to throw darts at. And for those who at least want to have an idea about what might happen, well, you have an idea from someone who holds the stock and has been in this for a long time that you can trust. And I'm not just a non-financial YouTuber. So Actually, I have a little bit of training in this, and I did also pull in one of our CPAs in the Discord to go over some of the questions I had. Because even when I'm going through this stuff, I generate my own questions. And when I have questions, I will wait hours for Sufyan to get on the Discord and help me work through them. And bless his heart, he spent over an hour helping us figure out this Highcroft Mining thing. Because I did not pay attention to that last quarter, but it is Highcroft Mining is in the Q1 last quarter's income statement, and we had to go understand how did they get to that 63 million of income from Highcroft Mining, and that led into a discussion of fair value of Highcroft Mining. How are they determining that? And then that led us into another discussion. So it was waterfalls of discussions, and we all learned and grew our knowledge together. I didn't go into all of that detail with you in the video because you guys don't even want to watch a 7-minute video. It would have been 30 minutes or an hour to explain all of that. But maybe one day if there's strong interest, we can go into that. So assumptions, Highcroft top level revenue is one assumption based off the model. And then our understanding of how the fair value measurement of Highcroft Mining, I think we nailed that. What I don't know, because we only have one quarter to look at, is what happens. I'm just going to be very upfront with you guys. Highcroft Mining was at $2.30 at the end of March. At the end of June, it was at $1.10. And so by our figuring out how this all works, I think since they posted 63 million in income and the stock basically dropped in half, they're going to have to now record a loss. Basically half of that income went away. I could be wrong. That could be a bad assumption, right? We're not corporate CPAs. Sufyan is a CPA, but some of this is still out of our league. We're doing the best we can with what we got. So we'll find out on Thursday if we got it right or not. But it's either going to be a 0 or a minus 31 million, I think, from Highcroft Mining, or maybe plus 31 million. Sufyan, if you get a chance, go read the message I sent you this morning. I was asking you a couple follow-up questions. But at the end of the day, guys, we're trying to give you a stab in the dark. I don't think it's going to be a positive earnings for this quarter. And I hear a lot of people saying that. Maybe it will. I'd love it to be a positive earnings for this quarter. But in reality, I don't think it is going to be. And that has nothing to do with the Highcroft specifically. It's just because the box office revenues weren't quite high enough in Q2 to get us over the 0 mark on earnings per share. But if AMC pulls some tricks out of the hat, or I just completely missed the due diligence, if I just got everything wrong, maybe I will be wrong. We'll find out in 4 days. And if I was way off, I'll do a follow-up video with you and let you know what I got wrong and what we learned from that, and how we adjust the model going forward. Yuka Frita says no Massalorian tonight. I reached out to him phone and email, and I think because he's doing the move still, Yuka, he for some reason was too busy to get back to me. So if he's in the chat and he wants to get in on this live stream, he's welcome to. Grandpa Barney, thank you. Mr. T, there is about an hour worth of power bill. Pay your power bills. Grandpa needs money. Thank you, Grandpa Barney. I appreciate you. Love you, brother. Natsuka, gun to your head. What's the pounce in your opinion? Natsuka, I'm going to recommend, like I always do, when it comes to the pounce, I want you guys to go check out Steven's channel. The YouTube channel is Just Another Ape. And he is one of our Discord members, and I have been talking with him for, gosh, I don't know, a month now about pounce theories. He had some due diligence that he uncovered, really, as far as I know, before anybody, about this paramount consent decree sunsetting on August 7th. This is going to be a court decision that is rolled back, that has been in place for decades. It's called the Paramount Consent Decree. Don't necessarily think that that is specific to Paramount. That was just one of the parties involved way back in the day when the court decision was made. But suffice to say, the high-level summary of that is there are going to be changes allowed in this industry, the movie industry, the theater industry, that have not been allowed for decades because of that court ruling. And there could be many potential things, many potential doors that open up to AMC. And this also could be bad for independent movie theaters. AMC is not an independent movie theater. AMC has strategically built itself as, I think they're the largest movie theater industry component. So it gives them a lot of options to do maybe independent film distribution, maybe get back into partnering with some production companies, film production, or maybe some strategic partnerships with a company like Paramount, Disney, Netflix, or the list is endless. But our personal favorite in our little group is Paramount. And we don't need to go into all of the reasons. Stephen covered those very well on his channel. So go check out Stephen's videos. He deserves the views over at Just Another Ape for putting all that work together for you guys. Shad, how you doing? Ceviche and beer. Yucca ceviche sounds beautiful right now. I was showing Scarlett some ceviche pictures. She was like, ugh, who eats raw octopus and raw shrimp? Well, I do, but she won't. Ceviche and beer. Yummy. The dude on the couch says, I lost my dog in January. Still miss her. Nothing can make a man cry. Take his dog. Sad story, personal, just something about me. The dude on the couch. My very first dog was a golden retriever. And as she got up in her senior year, she started having some brain seizure issues. And the doc gave her some medicine, which if she got it once a day would control it. But she started getting like memory loss and tremors, even convulsions, almost like epilepsy. And one day I forgot to give her the medicine, and I let her out in the backyard, and she was such a good dog for the 10, 12 years I had her. Never needed a fence in the backyard. And I lived at that point on a green belt. So there's literally nobody behind me but a river and trees and fields. And she went out to go to the bathroom, and I never found her after that. So yeah, it still hurts to this day. I feel your pain, dude. It sucks to lose your dog and never find it. She wandered off somewhere and probably had a seizure and fell down. Maybe someone picked her up. I don't know. I looked for days wandering through the scrub. Still just get you right here. Even when you're cold-blooded and emotionless, like I am, that will get you. Grandpa Barney, Mr. T got his ears lowered. I did get a fresh haircut last week, Grandpa. Almost went full G.I. Joe on you. But I kept a little bit on the top. Antoinette OPZ says, I heard decreasing the AMC float. I think that's misinformation. Antoinette, there was some Reddit posts, I think, about someone suggesting a reverse stock split, which I don't think. I think even maybe one of my friends up in Boston, not Massalorian, might have made a video about that. I don't know. I heard someone mention it. I know for sure it was on Reddit, but I don't think we need to worry about a stock split or a reverse stock split for AMC. It is always good if a company has free cash for them to buy back stock and reduce the float that way and increase the value of your shares. Would I love to see AMC eventually be in a position to buy back stock? Yes, I'd love to see that, but I think we're a ways away from that. Got to get the debt or some of it paid off first. And speaking of debt and debt covenants and dividends, I finally want to give a shout out to Pantheon. He messaged me a couple weeks ago about dividends and debt covenants, and he had done a video back on 10 days ago. I want you guys to go watch this if you haven't. A good rundown. July 20th, he did this video, AMC dividends versus debt covenants. It is, as he says in his video, close to 200 pages, guys, of reading through these documents when you're looking at quarterly filings. And a lot of times I speed read through them and try and pick out stuff because I don't want to spend 3 days reading a document over and over. And it does also take me sometimes multiple reads on these documents when you get down in the nitty gritty legal stuff. And I have never worked in the Wall Street finance industry to where I can just read this and like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that means. I can read it and have an inkling of what it means, and I might need to reread it a couple times or Google some things or reach out to a friend in the industry. And we eventually sorted out. But there might have been some things I missed. Pantheon pointed out some good additional things for me to go look at. And he seems to have made a pretty good case that potentially AMC could pay a dividend as early as June 2023, which opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. Now, I still have questions like, what about retained earnings and cash position at that time? These are other things we can get into. We got plenty of time to talk about those between now and June 2023, but it might not be as bad as I was initially thinking, that we couldn't pay a dividend till 2026. Why is that interesting? For now, I'm going to say go watch Pantheon's video. In the second half of it, he tells you why it might be interesting. As I absorb what he went through in his video and go read the documents yet again to see what I might have missed, if I come to some other conclusions that support his case and make me excited, then I will definitely come out on a specific video as we get closer to June of 2023 and talk about that. Ideally, something happens, a pounce, a catalyst, and we're not sitting here waiting on AMC to improve fundamentals and get to the point where they can pay off a dividend in June of 2023, right? But if we are stuck waiting, at least Pantheon seems to have made a good case that maybe in a year, AMC, by debt covenant, could be allowed to do it. So we will see, and I will keep you posted. And shout out to Pantheon for putting the work into that. If anyone knows the time that it takes to go do all that due diligence, it is myself. And I always appreciate the time he puts into looking into stuff. Backyard Boogie, good evening. Karen, good evening. Dream of Stuff, what's going on? If I miss your chats, guys, because they are going fast while I'm rambling on into the camera, I can't always read them. So I'm going to try and catch up here real quick. And if I miss something important, don't feel bad about repeating it. Just please don't spam the same question over and over. All right. Harold, good evening. Kevin, Sergeant Beef says, okay, talking to Karen. BioLife Hemp says, we need Arthur Anderson to certify our quarter. Maybe, I think we might need a new CPA firm, but I never did follow up after the vote we did, a few months back. What did AMC decide to do? Did they go ahead and certify that same accounting firm? I didn't follow up on any of those votes. Harold says Highcroft closed at 103. I think that might have been the recent close, right, Harold? But for what matters for Q2 was the close of Highcroft on June 30th. And it was a working assumption that we made that they're going to go in and do fair value measurement, they being AMC, of their Highcroft investment quarterly, right? That is another assumption that we made. There is a potential that they could just do it annually. We think that they're going to do it quarterly. So we saw 63 million in income on the income statement. They didn't sell anything. This is just how AMC has decided in an accounting rules that they decided on to value their investment by taking the stock price at the end of the measurement period. It said at the end of the measurement period. It didn't specifically say at the end of the quarter, but we're just assuming that that means at the end of the quarter. We'll find out in a couple days. If it's not clear, I'll do what Pantheon did and reach out to John Merriweather. And thank you, John Merriweather, for reaching back out to Pantheon. I had questions for GME about our stock split dividend, and it's been a month now that nobody from GameStop has gotten back with me. I had to do my GameStop stock split dividend research by reaching out to other people on Wall Street and other companies that did stock split dividends. But the one stock that I held as an investor couldn't be bothered to answer my email, and their phone was basically shut off. You could call, but the voice box was full. The voicemail box was full. So a little frustrated with GameStop. And shout out to AMC for being responsive to investors and getting back. R. Baglio, recession or not? We're going to talk about that in a second. Maybe we'll talk about it next. I'm going to try and catch up on a few other chats here. Tristan says people are talking about Mt. Gox negatively affecting the price of Bitcoin. Some chatter, is that even still a thing? I thought that was a long time ago. But I was having a conversation with one of my clients last week about crypto and the folks in the Discord. And I do still think that they're, regardless of what the catalyst is, be it SEC regulation or a recession, there are many things that still concern me for the equity markets and crypto markets. And there is still, I think, a reasonably high percentage chance, greater than 50%, slightly greater, that both the stock market and cryptocurrencies could still see a major fall. So in our portfolio, we're keeping still a decent amount of cash to have dry powder available. I am still adding stocks and cryptos, but I like to use the word judiciously on dips. And last week, as things ran up, man, that was a great thing. You guys know what happened after the Fed. And we had a couple good days of run on everything. It's real tempting to see 2 days green and say, oh, we're out of the woods. Let's go buy. Things are still cheap. I need to see more than 2 days of green. So I'm going to be patient. We're well off the highs of 2021 on everything. There's plenty of time to be patient and get back in. Eric Bissell says, Tony, I've been thinking about the pounce. What if AMC sold the shares of Highcroft the day after Highcroft run up and then paid off one of their debts in full? That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, they still own them, Eric, right now. And at the end of March, they were worth approximately $63.9 million. So what Highcroft needs to do, and I think what Adam Aaron's long-term strategic plan is do some more exploration, do some drilling, get some ore out of the ground, build out their leaching plant. And then as we get news of all of these things happening, Highcroft can come up in price. But in my mind, realistically, between you and me, all of you, I've made no secret of this since my very first video in March, that Highcroft Mining for me is not going to really do anything until probably 2024, the stock price. So you have plenty of time to be patient on that stock. There is still a very high probability that it could go down below $1 in my mind, because I don't foresee a lot of great news coming out of Highcroft, but there are a lot of motivated retail investors in Highcroft. So if any good news comes out, you can get a pop. So my strategy was to wait. When they announced buying Highcroft and it shot up, I said, let's wait till it comes back down to $1 and then start adding a position of Highcroft at about $1 or cheaper. So I just recently, in the past couple weeks, for $1, bought my very first Highcroft. So I've been waiting from March till now, and what I anticipated would happen, the run up and the come down, did happen, and I would not be surprised to see it fall below $1 if there's no good news or the market goes down. So I did not go all in at $1. I'm keeping some dry powder aside to add to Highcroft, and I'm just adding a small position because in my mind, Highcroft is going to be parked as a probably an investment that is not going to do anything for 2 years. That's my working theory until we get some more good news. The good thing about having plays that retail is excited about is all it takes is one bit of good news. They discover one 5-carat nugget hiding under a rock, and Diane makes an announcement. The CEO of what's her name? Diane Garrett. Hopefully I got that right. She makes an announcement. We found gold. And that could shoot the stock price up. So not knocking Highcroft. Literally any news can make retail meme type stocks run. That's why I wanted to buy in cheap. I did not get in the day AMC announced it. I'm in cheap now. If it runs up, depending on the news, if I think it's overdone, you know how we tend to overdo news sometime. Things run up and come down. If it's overdone, I'll sell and then wait for it to come right back down and just buy back. Made a little money, reestablish my position. So I think Pantheon and Boss Blunts have a upcoming interview with the CEO of Highcroft. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. And I can tell you that we've had some discussions, not me and Pantheon, not me and Boss, but our little Discord group about maybe just in case there's a little nugget in there, maybe we should grab some cheap calls on Highcroft, a couple bucks worth, not talking thousands of dollars, but some cheap calls on Highcroft just in case a little nugget gets dropped. It's probably not going to be, but is it worth $20? Maybe. We're thinking about it. Haven't decided yet. Tyler, congratulations. 9 months supporting the channel. Tyler says, watching you and Steven simultaneously. At least I can hear you better. Steven told me, Steven being just another ape, I know he's live streaming right now too. He told me I think he said he bought a microphone. So I don't know why you would have problems hearing him, Tyler. But I don't know if he got it all working. I know it was a new mic that he had. 27, thank you, sir, from the Rio Grande Valley. Much appreciated. Muchas gracias. Sufyan says, I can't find your questions in the Discord. Please inbox me. Sufyan, if you're still here, I'll ask you the question one more time. I'll just ask you right now, and we'll do it live, Sufyan. We'll do it live. The question I had, the one, I can't sleep sometimes, and these what ifs go through my mind nonstop as I'm laying in bed, drifting off to sleep. We made an assumption on Highcroft Mining on the income statement of AMC. We know that it was 63.9 million booked based on a $2.30 price of Highcroft. And we know in June, the price was $1.10. My question was, if that is a difference of 31, let's call it $31 million because the price dropped, do they have to carry the 63 million? Does it flow through on the income statement from one quarter to the next? So then they have to make a negative adjustment. And second part of that question, if that's the case, would it be minus 31 on the income statement for this quarter, Q2, or would it be just 63 minus 31? So the income would show as 32 million. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I'm sure Sufyan, that to you makes sense. I know everyone in the audience, it might not make sense. Sufyan and I have already talked about this for hours a couple days ago. But the working assumption that I went with is that it will be minus 31 million on the income statement, because they booked 63 million and now they lost 31 million of that. And we'll find out either way. There's no hard feelings. If anyone got anything wrong, Sufyan, myself, we'll find out in 4 days, and we'll know for next time. This is not common level of detail that any of us ever have to dig into on companies, because mostly we skim through financial statements. We don't go in and try and decipher 100 pages. And that's unfortunately, with the complexity of a company like AMC, with all the debt and the acquisitions, there's a lot of deciphering you got to do if you really want to understand all of it. Tindy Time, what's up, my friend? Shout out to Tindy Time, going through some family issues, some health issues. I saw another channel, Tindy Time, making fun of you. I just really want to reach through the camera and punch some people in the face for making stupid videos when they don't know what you're going through. And I respect your time for taking a step back from YouTube to focus on your family and get everybody well. And thank you for keeping me updated on that. And I wish you guys all the best. And you are still in our thoughts and our prayers. Thank you for hanging out here tonight. Home Daily says, is BBIG going to get delisted? So I haven't seen a delisting notice for BBIG, but if a stock is under $1 for a certain amount of time, they will get a delisting notice, and then they'll get typically, if I'm not mistaken, I'm getting old, guys. My memory fails sometimes, but I think they have 6 months typically to fix it, either by improving their incomes and thus their stock price over $1, or they can do a reverse stock split. So I am not following BBIG anymore. I sold all my BBIG on May 8th at the high of that day. Gave you the reasons why. It was $3 and change. Locked in a 200 and something % profit on that, and have not really looked back. All right. Vasic says, do you know what's going on with AMTD Digital? Yes, we will talk about that in a minute. Zepiish says phase 6 in September might save some meme and shorted stocks. Let's put up on the screen here what is going on with phase 6. Share screen. So, guys, I am not the subject matter expert on CAT and ISDA stuff, but I know it at a high level. I always refer you guys over to Bigums, who spends a lot of his free time digging into this stuff. And to get all of this stuff memorized and to become an expert in it, you really need to spend the amount of time that he does. So when I have questions, I reach out to him. No joke. When I have questions on this stuff, but at a high level, I know what all of this stuff is. Yes. There's this ISDA Cat 6, which is originally ISDA, the margin phase in updates were 5 phases that was going to end on September 2020. Then we had the pandemic, and some folks in the industry asked for an extension. So they ended up adding a phase 6, and everything, the last 2 phases got pushed out to September 2021 and September 2022. What I just want you to notice here is that the initial phases that started back in 2016, these were the big entities with over $3 trillion in average notional cleared derivatives. And then phase 2 was over 8 billion. Phase 3, 2017, 2.25 trillion. Now we're getting down to phase 6, which I think is the 8 billion. What that means is it's going to encompass, this is going to be the largest phase in terms of the number of entities involved, like double or triple the previous phase, because now we're getting down to the small players. So all the big players have already had to be in compliance with these new initial margin updates and the new regulations for years. But now we're getting to all the small guys, and this is going to be by far the largest number of firms impacted. So if you're wondering what this is, I'm not going to spend the entire night talking about it. Bigums has video after video where you can become much more informed than I could ever hope to do on this, until the day comes where I decide that I want to spend a week reading on and becoming an expert on this. Right now, I just I defer to him and send you over to him. But at a very high level, this all goes back to the 2008 and 2009 financial crisis. And you guys have heard me say that before. A lot of the regulations, even that the SEC has been implementing recently in the last year or two, also go back to 2008, 2009. Isn't that just mind-blowing that we're in 2022 and just now implementing regulations from a market crash, just complete shenanigans going on, risk-taking from 2008 that took us this long to get regulations in place. But in response to 2008, the G20 agreed to financial regulatory reform covering over-the-counter derivatives markets and market participants. So that's what this ISDA initial margin stuff is. This is different than the SEC Cat 6. Cat Consolidated Audit Trail Phase 6. But they're both Phase 6. So, and if I'm not mistaken, the ISDA is regulated by the CFTC, the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission. So I'm not trying to be an expert, guys. I'm just trying to answer high-level questions. Could it be interesting to us? Yes. Anytime you're tightening up margin requirements on players in this industry that had very loose rules before, it can potentially create some margin calls. But what I do also want you to know is that all of the big players have been in compliance with this for a long, long time, going back to 2016. So we're roping in the small guys now, and quantity-wise, the largest amount of players are in Phase 6. Sufyan says, I think the measurement for Highcroft will be associated with the initial purchase price. So for Q2, I believe if the fair value is below the purchase price, then they will need to record a loss. What if, Sufyan, they booked 63 million in Q1, and then at the end of Q2, the stock price fell to the point where it was in line with what they purchased it at, but remember the fair market calculations we went through and par value? I still calculated it would be worth 31 million at the end of Q2. Think on that for a second. Highcroft investment. Eight Blazing says, I could be wrong and I'd be happy to be wrong, but I assume we haven't seen the bottom yet in the markets. Yes, so we see here in the news, stock futures fall slightly to start August trading, with market coming off best month since 2020. That was last month, the best month in the market since 2020. And according to the futures right now, we might have they're slightly down for leading into next week. I would not be surprised to see a little bit of sell off this week. I hope not. I want the market to recover, steam ahead, big money to come back into our plays, because pushing stock prices up is what will, in my opinion, cause margin calls. Falling stock prices, falling stock market makes the shorts even more rich. So it does add that interesting element of, if they had a bunch of long bets, they could lose money on those. So there's an interesting dynamic at play there. But I want to see everybody be successful. I want all of us to get out of the funk that we've been in from the market being down and nobody getting paid. And so I'd love to see the market go back up. And I think either way, if you're looking for short squeezes, they exist every day. We watch them every day. Short squeezes and run-ups in stocks that are mostly irrelevant to what the market is doing. It has to do with other factors like how many shares are issued, what's the retail participation in that stock. As some people have said, options and derivatives have something to do with it. Is there an options chain where they can siphon off money instead of you pushing the stock price up? That's one interesting thing to think about. But also, so stocks that don't have options chains can be interesting for their own unique set of reasons, because all the money from investors is going right into the stock, pushing the price up. When you have a stock like AMC, people start YOLOing their money into options instead of buying the stock. Well, you're diluting your buying pressure on the stock itself. You are, though, building a different case, a case of a gamma squeeze if the options chain is loaded up. And that is something also that can trigger a stock squeeze, a fully loaded options chain. The problem is you got to have some catalyst to trigger people buying the stock, because only when the stock price is moving up does the options chain gamma squeeze get roped in. I know it's all complicated. Hopefully some of you get what I'm saying. But there are short squeezes every day in the market that you can participate in, or at least every week. Market falling, market going up, we're going to be fine. But for AMC at least, and GameStop, we need a catalyst. We need some sort of catalyst. So maybe the pounce. I don't have a date on the pounce. I know some people have heard me speak or read my community tabs and interpreted that in their own mind that I said the pounce will be on August 4th. Adam Aaron said after Q2. He did not give a date. What we do know is that earnings is on the 4th, and that might be a logical time to announce a pounce. But honestly, I don't know when that will be. After Q2 could be June of 2023 when they can pay a dividend, for all I know. So I am being very patient in my play with AMC. No, I have not and do not intend to sell any of my AMC. But depending, I am in this play as long as the company is wrecking the short thesis and continuing to stack up box office revenues and increase gross revenues over the course of quarters. And we are seeing fantastic trajectory with this company and with box office revenues. I mean, there's nothing not to be excited about in this play other than $5 billion in debt. And eventually we'll get that paid off, but we need to get to a point where we're generating some real profits. So we'll see. We'll see when the pounce is. Don't be disappointed if there's no pounce on August 4th. I'm certainly not making any hard decisions on August 4th. I said I would make some sort of decision on other ways to make money with my investment in AMC depending on it, what the pounce is. Like if the pounce was a new flavor of popcorn, obviously I'm not going to be happy with that. And now I know that I'm probably waiting till 2023 or 2024 for the company to be profitable. Do I want tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars just sitting idle for years? Or can I figure out other ways to make money on that play without selling my position? So if and when we get to that, if I figure out other ways to make money on this play, I'm not talking swing trading. No, I'm at a negative on my AMC. It just doesn't make sense to sell it and then hope it goes lower. That's just stupid. But if I come up with other ways to make money on it, when and if that day comes, we'll talk about it then. I'm not selling my AMC at a loss. I don't think we have a lot of downside for me to capitalize on. Selling at 14 or 12 doesn't seem like a great idea. Andrew, still talking about ISDA, says Bigham thinks nothing big happens till end of 2023. Thank you, Andrew, for that. What do I think about September 1st, phase 6? We just talked about that, Darren. Hopefully I answered your question. Turtle says Adam Aaron has to announce something big on earnings for me to get hyped. Yeah, we just talked about that, Turtle. So hopefully I covered that. I just want to see incrementally improved earnings. If they were by some miracle close to zero or positive, we'll be taking off our shirts and dancing around naked on camera. But in reality, what I'm just expecting is incremental progress better than Q4, better than negative 26 cents. And that works for me. That is the progress I want to see. Move up every quarter back towards fixing this company to 2018, 2019 levels. Deb Patel says, is that any other kind of catalyst or just putting stuff under the rug? I mean, Dev, the phase 6, both CAT phase 6 and ISDA phase 6 could be a catalyst. I mean, putting initial margin requirements on people that didn't have them firmly in place before makes people think about the derivatives that they're buying. And the CAT phase 6 gives regulators, CAT phase 6 being consolidated audit trail, gives regulators more tools to investigate potential wrongdoing. The question I have on CAT phase 6 is, so we give regulators more tools. Are they going to use them? And how many years is it going to take for investigations based on all the new data they have on trades that are happening? This is the thing that irritates me about regulations, is we pass regulations and these hedge fucks figure out the gray areas to get around them, or they just willingly ignore them or break the law or break the regulation because they know the worst case is they're not going to get hauled in front of the SEC for 5 to 10 years. You guys see all the fines that these guys pay. They're paying fines on stuff from 2015 right now. We just finished our investigation and we're going to fine them $100,000 for violations, thousands of violations in 2015 to 2018. It's just so infuriating that the regulators take years and years and years to build and prosecute these cases, and then they just walk off with a slap on the wrist. So you wonder why I don't spend tons and tons of time talking about regulations. It's all of that frustration about how useful are they really? I don't know. Doesn't seem to be too useful, any regulation. There's guidelines. There are ways to put people in jail, but we seem, or fine them, but we seem woefully inadequate in having the balls in the SEC, and the DOJ at least does put some people in jail, but not enough. They're just so damn slow. So damn slow. I made a tweet. I did I put out a tweet a week or two ago. I said it at the rate that we are going, you know, all of the crimes that are happening right now in these plays, and I'm sure there's some, will be prosecuted in 10 years. We're not going to find out about everything that happened until 2031. If you're still around and I'm still alive, we'll talk about it when those happen. 24 on the money says kill shot is for Adam Aaron to state on the record what percentage float institutions own and what percentage float retail owns in the same breath. The total of both should be well over 100%. I agree. It would be over 100% because for sure we know that shares are shorted by 19-ish%, right? So who owns those? Institutions, ETFs, and retail. So we all collectively own at least 119% of the float. That's the legal shares that we know about. For sure, we own over 100%. Kevin says, do you like any other gold stocks besides Highcroft? Kevin, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't trade in gold or gold stocks anymore. I have bought gold ETFs in the past. GLD, I think, was the one that I used to buy, but I just frankly found them kind of boring. Would I buy gold stocks or gold, bars or gold ETFs in the future? Considering the turmoil that the world is going through right now, yes, I would buy them in the future when things come back down to like the 7-year low. I'm not interested in buying it or anything to do with gold right now when things are overpriced. That's just me. If you think the world is going to end and that you need to own gold at any price, that's a different set of decisions. And I'm not basing my investment decisions on that premise. So I respect those that are. That's not how I'm working my portfolio right now. I definitely get it. I mean, they're as I say, in the universe of possibilities, that is a possibility. But I'm stocking up on guns, ammo, and food, and I'll just go take somebody else's gold if shit hits the fan. Nancy Ann says, thanks for all you do, Tony. That was a joke. Come on. But I am stocked up on the essentials. At the end of the day, you could have a house full of gold, but if you don't have a way to protect it, you're just going to be fodder for marauding thieves. And I do agree that you should stock up on food and water 1 to 3 months. Always. Flood, hurricane, earthquake, or shit hits the fan. New York, nuclear attacks, guys, it's common. It's good planning to always be prepared. And if you can legally own some personal protection and get trained on how to use it for your home defense, I think that's a good idea too. JF Almeida says, I'm not planning to retire anytime soon, so I can wait. Moon or zero. JF, shout out to you. I love that attitude. And that is my attitude also in stocks. When I'm buying most stocks, I'm telling myself already, what is my 5-year price target on this stock? If I think that I'm going to get a reasonable rate of return, appreciation in the price of that stock over 5 years, because none of us can forecast economic and business cycles with certainty in a 1-year time frame. So I'm looking out 5 years when I buy something. On the risk portion of my portfolio, the gambling stocks, the AMCs, the GameStops, the day trades, the swing trades, I don't have a 5-year outlook, but sometimes you get roped into one, like I am with AMC. And that's fine because I already have the mindset on the bulk of my portfolio that it's there for the long term. And I'm including crypto in that too. So if you guys can make part of your mind okay with potentially holding this until fundamentals recover, and just in case a catalyst doesn't happen on your time frame next week or in 3 weeks. That is another possibility for this stock to go up. AMC getting back to profitability, and the movie industry cranking out good movies, and people continuing to go to the movies in increasing numbers like they have been doing. And we'll need to keep an eye on that every quarter to make sure that that is still happening, right? It is also incumbent on Hollywood and the film production companies to put out quality movies that people want to go see. This is not all just in AMC's hands. We got partners in this, and they want to make money. So I think they will be cranking out plenty of good movies, but it all works together. All works together. 1796 says, Tony, where are you in the Discord during the trading days? Are you there pre-market and all day? 1796. So when I wake up in the mornings, depending on what time I wake up, most days it's around 5:30 in the morning. Depends. I mean, I'm in the Discord sometimes till 1 or 2 in the morning. So sometimes later. If I'm up really late, I might not be up at 5 in the morning, right? I do need to sleep. Even with the recent discovery of vampire blood, I do need to sometimes sleep more than 3 hours. So if I got to bed at a decent time, and I wake up whatever time, 5, 5:30, 6, first thing I do is check pre-market activity, check the stocks we've already been tracking from previous days, see if there's any new ones. And if there are any new ones, I will put them in the daily hot stock room. So the ticker, what percentage it's up in pre-market, and what the deal is with that company. It's not my job to make specific price target recommendations for you guys. I don't have a crystal ball. Anyone who's giving price targets on something running in pre-market is guessing. But we can look at volume and price activity in pre-market and get a good idea. But I can tell you, and the guys in the Discord that watch these with me can tell you, we see just as many that are running in pre-market that flatline as soon as the market opens, or run in pre-market and tank as soon as the market opens. There's just as many of those that run in pre-market and run up throughout the entire day. So my job is to alert you to the tickers for you to keep an eye on, and then we will be talking about them. If there is something happening in one, we always have ongoing discussions in the daily stock room, the daily stock tips room, about what everyone's thinking. And it's not just me telling people what to do. This is group work, and we got a lot of smart people in there. But I take the initiative in the mornings to post what is the potential plays of the day. Eight Blazing says, why buy gold when you could buy a Bitcoin? That's kind of how I look at it, Eight Blazing, quite honestly. Like, gold, honestly, is really, really boring. If you look at the wild volatility valuation swings in Bitcoin, that'll get you up in the morning. That'll get you up in the morning looking at your phone like, what happened with Bitcoin while I was asleep? What's happening 30 seconds from now? Scarlett's like, why are you always checking your phone? Babe, because Bitcoin could be running. I know. Just set some alerts. If you find yourself stuck to your phone, set alerts and get your life back. I'm being a little bit funny. I do have alerts set on all of that stuff. Let me hide a spammer here. Love chat. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Am I streaming tomorrow, Jack? Probably so. Probably so, Jack. Do I feel crypto's at the bottom, Arbaglio? I don't know. I think there's at least right now 50% chance of the economy continuing to worsen throughout the rest of this year. Let's talk about the economy. This article here from CNBC and the Fed last week. We live streamed that, talked about Jerry Powell's comments, the 75 basis point interest rate hike. They're pinning everything on the labor market was strong, wages are rising, unemployment's low. Okay, fair enough. Technically, by the textbook definition, are we in a recession? Yes, I think that is inarguable. In a gray area discussion, if you want to factor in other things like the labor market and increasing wages, could you make an argument that the economy is still growing? Yeah, maybe. But as we talk about in private and here on YouTube, there are layoffs happening. There are companies proactively warning you in their quarterly earnings that guidance for next quarter is going to be bad. And you've seen a lot of people announce layoffs, and I can tell you for a fact there are layoffs happening that you don't know about because they're not being, maybe they don't meet a threshold to have to do a press release, but there are companies laying people off. So I think there is a very high possibility that we could have a lagging impact to the labor market over the next 3 to 6 months. Will I be right? I don't know. I hope not. I'd love to see a nice slow recovery and ease back into green markets and supply chain miraculously just get fixed and everything go back to the way it was in 2020. But I'm not going to be as... I think the administration is doing a lot of things for political reasons, a lot of their messaging. Obviously, they want to put the best face forward because midterms are right around the corner. That's what any rational politician would do. So I don't blame them for saying that, but I also don't believe most of what they're saying. And I'm no expert, but I did get my degree in economics, so take that for what it's worth. Common sense investor Susquehanna is the devil. I liked your video, CSI. Yeah. Thank you for finding mine. That was one of my funny videos where I put on a mask, put on my devil mask and voice modulator, just having fun with some of the editing tools in the software. But guys, we've talked about this before over the last year. Susquehanna is maybe the bigger player in all of these squeeze plays, all of this shorting than Citadel. I mean, they're far larger in size. They are also a market maker. I know for sure they're a options market maker. And when you're buying options, you could be buying them from Susquehanna. And when those options expire worthless, you're making Susquehanna money because you're just handing them your premium. Why does that matter? Because they are also buying puts and calls on AMC. Now, the funny thing is, I'm sure there's people probably on Reddit. I don't go on Reddit anymore. It just makes me sick. But there are sure people on, I'm sure people on Reddit posting that Susquehanna has 11 million puts on AMC. Fuck them. 11 million shares worth of puts. Yep, they do. The largest put position of any entity out there from what I saw when I looked this morning. But what some of these people on Reddit won't tell you is Susquehanna also has 14 million shares worth of calls. They actually have a bigger long position than they do a put position. When we think about, are they short on AMC? Well, we don't really know, right? Because no one, thank you, Gary Gensler, no one is required to report their short positions to the public. So we won't know till after plays blow up or companies blow up who was really short. I think it's safe to assume that if they have calls and puts, that they have some play that they are hedging. Whether it's long or short, I don't know. But I don't like these big guys having so much power to both invest in our company, long and short, puts and calls, and be market makers and buy the stock. Seems like there ought to be some divestment. Too many hands in too many places making too many decisions that affect us. So I just don't like it. I don't like Susquehanna. Worse, I don't like them worse than I don't like Ken Griffin. All right. Descendants Kennel says thoughts on Getty for tomorrow. Let's talk about Getty for a second. Gety. And shout out to one of our members, Prosp. Is he in the chat today? Talking about, hey, Pantheon, what's up, buddy? I gave you a shout out at the beginning of today's video. I finally had time to watch your 1 hour video on dividends and debt. So thank you for doing that. You gave me a little more homework. Looked pretty legit from what I saw there. Great work. I appreciate all the time I'm sure that took you. And I asked folks who haven't watched that video to go check out Pantheon's video on debt versus dividend. And we'll come back to that here in a couple weeks. I got some more homework from Pantheon I need to go do now. Good stuff over there. Getty. Let's talk Getty for 1 second. Could this be, for some of you that have discretionary extra money, and I know some of my channel members do. Not everybody is an AMC or GameStop investor. Some of you are just looking for momentum trades. I'm going to talk to you guys for 1 second. Getty, there was this Twitter out 3 days ago talking about the Getty SEC forms are out. This was a SPAC, and they're talking here about the redemption of a SPAC. And I might do a video on how SPAC redemptions and mergers work, but 99% of the SPAC shares, those shares that trade for $10, 99% were redeemed before the merger and the new company ticker symbol gets launched. And what I'm seeing people post, and I never even realized this, guys, people have been making posts and videos on this for well over a year saying this is going to short squeeze. 99.3% of all of the SPAC shares were redeemed. The float's only 500,000. We got them. We got the shorts. I mean, guys, I could be all wrong. I could just totally have the SPAC process misunderstood. And I can promise you, I've looked into it many, many times over the last year. But I'm going to give you a couple tools you can use. And I'm going to talk about why I think this narrative is not correct. Now, I'm not saying don't invest in Getty. It ran up like a motherfucker last week, and it could still. We'll talk about that. But if you're buying it because you think the float is 508,000 shares, just want to show you something. This is Y charts. There are probably other sites that you can go look at that show similar information. Ortex is one. Go to key stats, go to shares outstanding. And right here, this stock just went public, but it says right here, shares outstanding for Getty, 342 million, right? It's not 513,000. That is a misunderstanding of how the redemption process on SPACs happens prior to a merger. And maybe I will do a video on it, but it is not uncommon for the original SPAC investors to do redemptions because they don't want to hold their SPAC shares and they don't want shares of the new company. When the merger happens, new shares are issued of Getty, and you can go read exactly how many will be issued if you go read the SEC filings. It says right here on Ortex, Getty shares outstanding 376 million, free float 159 million, right? That is, again, very different than 500,000, right? Why would a SPAC investor want to redeem their shares? Well, it is my understanding. Again, I'll bring someone on that is an expert because, god damn, SPACs are confusing, right? You got shares, you got pipe shares, you got preferred shares, you got warrants. It is a mess if you're not a finance expert. Don't feel bad if you don't get it. But in most cases, as far as I've read and as far as I understand, many, if not all of these original SPAC investors can do a redemption prior to the merger and still retain all their warrants. If they got shares plus warrants, if they were buying in units of shares plus warrants, they can sell the shares with the option to retain the warrants. And maybe these are big institutional investors that bought the SPAC at $10 and they elect the option to return their shares for $10 and basically get a free warrant that they could exercise at a later date if the stock moves up post-merger. But at any rate, whatever reason they're doing it is really irrelevant. When the merger happens, the new ticker symbol is going to get its whole new set of shares, and the number of redemptions, as far as I understand it, are irrelevant. That is not going to make a short squeeze after the merger. If you are a SPAC industry professional and I got that wrong, feel free to chime in. If you're a Reddit reading expert, then I would say maybe send me a DM, because I do not believe what I'm reading on Reddit or what I'm seeing on YouTube videos. I do not. I think it is a misunderstanding of people who are not financial YouTubers seeing the word redemption, seeing that 98% of the float was redeemed, and not understanding exactly how the merger process works. Once I'm going to, just to be fair, I'm going to reach out to some folks and make sure that I got that right. And I already did. In fact, I heard back from a business professor at Harvard. This is not a joke. He wrote a long, great article on the SPAC process. And I wrote to him this weekend and asked him if he would mind sparing a couple minutes for a phone call to go over a couple basic questions that I had. You know what he wrote me back? I'm not kidding. Not kidding. He's like, hey, thank you for the email. I'm sorry, but everything I know about SPACs was in the article I wrote. Really? Really, Professor? Everything you couldn't even entertain a minute to answer maybe one potential other question? Maybe you missed something. Maybe there's one little nugget I could pull out of your brain. Motherfuckers. Some of these people really piss me off. And I can tell you guys, not the first time I've reached out to business school professors who have written articles, and most of them just don't even bother to respond back. So kudos to this gentleman. I won't embarrass him by saying his name. Kudos to him for getting back to me on a Sunday, but to say that everything you knew was in your 300-word article, that's kind of embarrassing, honestly. Kind of embarrassing. I mean, the accolades and the titles and the awards he had after his name, professor of finance, cum laude, blah, blah, special this and that award. I would expect he might be able to have one more nugget that I could pull out with a couple of good questions. It's just so frustrating to do good due diligence, which is why I was so happy to see John Merriweather got back to Pantheon. I appreciate professionals that take the time out to help us all learn together. John Merriweather being the CFO of AMC. BioLife Hemp says, what is not talked about is shares sold, not yet purchased. Yes, the Citadel $65 billion on their balance sheet. We are having some sideline discussions on that BioLife Hemp. So when I'm ready to talk about that, I will. I got so many parallel path things going on. If you guys wonder, like, what am I doing when I'm not making videos? I'm either making money on my other businesses, day trading, helping people in the Discord, or doing due diligence. And man, I got multiple videos I'm working on EV companies, Tesla, Mullen, and Rivian, and doing due diligence on those. Those are multiple path things I have going right now. And we are also talking about the Citadel shares sold, not purchased. I just got to pick what is the most pressing issue of the moment that I can really impact people's finances. Like if I spend 3 days to go understand Citadel's balance sheet, is that going to materially make you money tomorrow? Probably not. We've been talking about Citadel for a year. What more nuggets could I really uncover that's going to make you money tomorrow? So as a matter of curiosity and due diligence in this market manipulation scheme, yes, I'm very interested in understanding Citadel better. But in terms of making my life better and your life better in the short term, tomorrow, next week, making money on trades, making money, if you're invested in Tesla or you're thinking about buying some Mullen or Rivian, I know many of you are thinking or already in them. I want to get some other content out for you on those. And I'm not just talking finances. I mean, I'm digging down into these companies to a mechanical design engineering level of the vehicles and battery pack design and robustness to the tear down level of batteries. I got a Tesla in my garage that I've pulled the chassis off of that we're going through the battery. I'm just kidding. I don't really, but I am doing due diligence to that level of research. Because why? It's one thing to believe in a company, but with my career in engineering and manufacturing, I also, for EV companies, I do not for 1 second ignore the risks they are facing in tooling up factories, tooling up new products, new designs, new prototypes, new first passed vehicles, and getting those out in a quality fashion that is going to hold up and not have recalls, safety failures, catch on fire, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, when I'm looking at a car company, especially EVs, the due diligence work of picking the right one is very deep and very time consuming. So I hope to bring something to the table for you on some of these companies that maybe you haven't seen before when we get to that point. I often say some of these companies will make it. I think many of them won't. Tesla is going to be fine. The others, it's a crapshoot. So if we're picking other EV plays, we want to be as good at picking the most likely successes that we can. And that does not mean just by listening to someone on YouTube who's looking at a price chart and short interest and saying this is the play. If you're holding these companies for long term, an EV company, you need to really understand the product and what their strategic advantages are over the competition. Is it well designed? Is it going to deliver customer expectations that people are expecting? That conversation we had last week about EV trucks not really being able to tow for very long, that's going to get frustrating. I got off topic on Getty, but guys, it doesn't really matter, what these companies do. Getty, MAIA Biotech, What was that other one? Not Mogo. Was it Mogo? There were a couple that I put on the video that I put out this afternoon. There are a couple of potential momentum trades for next week. What they do is not as important. Like this MAIA is it's a new IPO. These are not highly shorted stocks. This is not a SPAC, but they are releasing only 2 million shares of common stock with a option to release another 300,000 within 45 days. So that is something to keep in mind. There could be they've already got built into the IPO dilution. The underwriter, if they see that the IPO was picked up and the price was bid up, the underwriter has already baked into the deal a immediate dilution that they can offer more shares. You need to know those things if you're buying these low float IPOs. Not everybody's telling you this stuff. They're just saying, "Oh, it just went public and it's got 15 million shares, 1.5 million shares." Almost all of these have these over allotment deals written into them if you bother to go read the 8Ks. Why does that matter? Just so you know in the back of your mind, if someone tells you that this stock is going to run from $5 to 200, yeah, it might be good to know that there's already dilution baked in, that they could drop in at any moment, because that could rug pull or slow down the play. Doesn't mean don't play momentum. If something's running and you like momentum plays, by all means, play it. And we do every week. But we dig in here a little more than the folks who don't read all of these documents before they jump in. And really, I'm for whatever makes you guys money. What pisses me off is when you become bag holders because of someone else pushing out a play, not understanding that dilution is coming, or that the company just did a reverse stock split. So it looked like it was at $100 last week, and it's at $2 right now. So they think it's a great deal. Well, no, they were actually 13 cents a couple weeks ago, but they did a reverse split. I mean, there's so many layers of just quick due diligence. I mean, I've offered to help other YouTubers create a checklist of things to do. And that's fine if they don't want to. There's nothing wrong with just jumping on momentum plays. Nothing wrong with it at all. But we want to make the smartest decisions we have, smartest decisions we can, and quickly do some basic due diligence. And then if the play's going on for days, we can dig into it a little more each day, because some of these plays will rocket up, some will trade flat, some will wave all over the place, and some will open when the market opens and tank, or even tank before the market opens. There's no guarantees. And that's really what I want you to know on momentum trading. No one has a crystal ball. These guys that aren't doing good due diligence, some of them in the long run are going to lose all their money. Some of them that have experience doing it, like Teddy Zane, he's built up through the School of Hard Knocks, is likely to make money because he's already got the feel of how these things work. So you got to know who you're listening to. I'm not gonna poo-poo on any momentum plays, right? But if you ask me for my opinion on it, I will share with you a moment of due diligence that maybe no one else is telling you. Not to tell you to stay out of the play, but so that you have it in the back of your mind when you're deciding, should I hold this overnight? Is it really going to 500 like that guy told me on YouTube? That's all. I want you to have the full information, not just the hype information. I don't want you to be a bag holder. I want you to make money, but I also want you to get out while you're still on the green. That's it. GC says, Tony, what do you think of MU, Micron? I owned Micron last year, GC. I liked it. And I held it for a long time as I was watching NVIDIA and all the other ones go up, and Micron was trading flat. Finally got frustrated that my money was being parked and nothing was happening. Sold it. And then, of course, the price went up, right? Doesn't it always work that way, GC? So I was buying it strictly for a sector momentum play. I picked the one in the sector that didn't move for many, many months. So, that was just bad luck. I didn't lose any money, but while I'm watching NVIDIA soar, Micron's trading flat, I just got out of it and moved that money into other plays. So that's all the thoughts I have on Micron. I did not do tons of due diligence. I knew that chips were in short supply and that the sector was going to go up. And that's all I needed to know. I made the best choice of one. In retrospect, probably should have bought two. Probably should have split that money and not just tried to pick one winner. Big B says, MGM seems safer than MAIA and Getty. However, all of them are risky. Yep. That's Big B. The one thing that I want you guys to know when I talk about momentum trades, I'm always going to try and remind you that these are for experienced investors who have done momentum trading and have the ability to day trade. So if you don't have a day trading account, or if you don't have the ability to get up and watch things in pre-market, or if you don't have the ability to trade in pre-market or watch things all day, you need to limit what you're putting in these plays because your risk is really increasing. Imagine if you are buying on a broker where you can't get out in pre-market. If it runs up and you decide that your profit level was met, but you can't trade in pre-market, and then it crashes when the market opens, that sucks. There's a lot of things to think about before you jump on momentum stocks involving risk. And we talked a little bit in this morning's video about pattern day trading rules, wash sales, all of that stuff. There's just so many things that other channels don't tell you about that I want you guys to be successful, not get blocked out of your account or get an equity call from your broker to bring your account up to 25,000, or they're going to lock you out for 90 days. There's rules you need to know. And there are ways to get around some of those rules. We can talk about that on another video for another day. But be careful if you don't know what you're doing. Do not dump all of your money into SIGA or MAIA or Getty. If I'm going in these plays, I'm going in with a small investment, and depending on if it continues to show strength as I put my initial marker in, I may lever up a little bit. And as I will have a predetermined profit that I want to make for that day or that play, if I decide to hold it overnight, I will start taking some money out, right? I mean, wouldn't it make sense if you made 100% on something in 4 hours, maybe to take half of it off the table and get your money back? Then you can let the rest run. You're playing on house money at that point. That's a safe strategy. Not all of them run 100% in a day, but that's just one thing to think about. There's a lot of ways to minimize your risk. Now, if you want to shoot for the moon and put all of your money in one trade, you just sold a house or something, and you're looking for something to roll that 100,000 of profit and maybe make it into $1 million in a couple days, I say good luck to you. I will be in your corner batting for you, but man, you got balls of steel doing that. You got balls of steel, and I salute you. I don't roll that way. I've had my 20s and 30s already. I'm past those decades in my life. I'm looking to grow my portfolio and have fun with a percentage of it on the gambling plays. But if I guessed wrong, or the crystal ball was a little hazy that day, or the market got bad news because Russia dropped a bomb in New York and everything goes to zero, I do not want all of my free cash riding on one stock. I do not roll that way, and I can't in good conscience tell you guys to do that. Spread your bets out, spread your risk out. And the riskier it is, the more I want you to think about that. New Mega says, have I looked into VLCN? I have not, but I will add it here on this tab so I can come back and check it if we wrap up here tonight. Broke Ape says, are any future in 3D printing? I don't know a whole lot about 3D printing, Broke Ape. I mean, I read about it from time to time in articles. I have friends that have 3D printers. It seems like it's a burgeoning industry, right? The ability to buy a relatively inexpensive 3D printer and do it yourself at home is becoming more and more accessible to people. But I don't know what the market demand is for something like that. So that is a tough question for me to answer. Common Sense Investor says, how long does it take for you to decide if it's a good or bad investment? So CSI, if we're talking momentum trades in pre-market, I make my first assessment based on a quick run through of press releases and SEC filings at a high level. Price, momentum, and volume. I will make all of that decision in about 10 minutes. And if it is continuing to move, then I will start reading deeper into those documents. And I'm looking for like on press releases. What was the press release? Is this a biopharma company that's in stage 1 of a drug that's not going to come to market for 4 years, but the stock's up 100% on it? Come on. That's a completely different run than a company which just got approval from regulating agencies to launch this drug next week, right? Stage 1 testing for a product that's not coming out for years, completely different type of press release than a drug about to be released, and they got a lock on that drug. So you got to be able to read the press release and filter the meaning of it. Then other things I look at, what is their financials really quickly. Are they making money? Do they have revenue? Have they done dilution? Those are just top level things I want to know before I jump in a play. That's about it for a momentum play. Quick and dirty. And then as the day progresses, if they are keeping my interest and I'm playing it and I'm thinking about, oh, this might run more than a day, I spend more time digging into them. When I'm buying a stock for 5 years, I might research it for 3 days or a week. Momentum plays, you got to allocate your time accordingly to the play. And there's nothing wrong with doing no due diligence. If you just want to hop in, make 20% and hop out, no due diligence may be required. Nothing wrong with that. Someone said, is Ring a buy? Ring Central, is this is not Ring the camera company, is it? This is Ring Central, the telecom company. make sure. Let me make sure which one it is. RNG, and make sure that you're talking about the one that you mean to talk about. Yeah, this is the cloud-based company. I have used Ring Central for one of my businesses in the past. I'm not currently using them. I have moved on to other competitors, but I didn't necessarily have a bad experience with Ring. It looks like they're continuing to grow top line revenues, which is good. Earnings per share, unfortunately, have fallen, go in the wrong direction. So they were losing 33 cents a share in 2018. In the end of 2021, they were losing $4 a share. So their losses have 4x. I would say go understand why this company is growing but losing more and more money every year. Not a simple thing for me to answer on a live stream, but I'm sure all of that is in the press releases during the earnings statement. Sometimes on these companies, it's just a matter of they're a growth company and they're investing in future technology and marketing, yada, yada, yada. But that is what you need to go answer for yourself for RNG. I'm a professional, says Tony, being 80 something years old, are you afraid you will pass away before the market rebounds and I can get that money back? Nope. I am afraid of getting killed in a car wreck, knock on wood. Not afraid of dying. I'm gonna live well past 100. So that gives me at least another 5 or 6 years. And I'm sure we'll be fine. The market will be fine before I get old. Probably next year, the market will start showing some signs of life. Big B says AMTD is actually HKD. I had somewhere here I thought I had some tabs open for HKD. That was an amazing trade. And HKD, I think it may be done now. But if you didn't see my video this morning, this stock on July 15th came out at 12 bucks and it hit 402 with a top of the wick at 485 on July 29th on Friday. $12 to 400. And that was not a short squeeze. That was just retail FOMO for no apparent reason. So, yeah, I mean, there's opportunities to make money every day for no apparent reason, but you got to be plugged in. Got to be plugged into folks that are at least giving you the heads up on which ones to look at. Free float. I wanted to see what the short interest. I think there's no short interest. This stock is a ADR. If I'm not mistaken. It's a Chinese company. If I'm not mistaken. Free float, 20 million shares. I thought I read that this was ADRs. Someone help me out in the chat. Meaning that the stock is listed in Hong Kong and some bank here in the US is holding a supply of shares and they're issuing depository receipts to trade here in the US market. Remember that whole BDR discussion about AMC in Brazil? Well, ADRs are the opposite for companies that are trading in foreign exchanges. And they get really, really tricky. And generally, it's not always difficult for the float to increase, because all they got to do is go buy more shares, right? If you're a bank and you're holding shares here in the US that are getting bid up, meanwhile, the home company in China, Hong Kong, is not getting bid up, wouldn't you just go buy more of those cheap ones over there and make new ADRs and issue them over here and just freaking drop the price? That's what I would do. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it would not surprise me to see the float get fixed really quickly on HKD and that price come down. Let me get rid of this love chat bot. Put user in timeout. Did someone already block them? Thank you, Diaz. Diaz on the job. I appreciate you, man. Yuka Frita says, don't worry, guys. Don't worry, Tony. Robot Godzilla will fix all of this long before all that happens. Long before I'm dead. Robot Godzilla is going to come in and save the day. Woo! How long have we been talking here without it? I've been going 2 hours without a drink. Beer is getting hot. Jim says, do you think Fidelity will allow you to trade aftermarket or pre-market? Jim, I'm pretty sure that you can on Fidelity. You just need to either call them or email them or click the button, depending on what kind of account you have, to get that turned on. But different brokers might have different hours. I know Teddy Zane's always saying the reason he likes Webull is they have the earliest start. Now, I have not done any comparison of all the brokers about which one allows you to start earliest, because frankly, I'm typically up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning every night. And I pre-market trading is interesting to me, and you can make money in pre-market. There's people that make all their money in pre-market and then call it a day as soon as the market opens. Nothing wrong with that. But realistically, knowing my lifestyle, I cannot count on myself waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day to trade in pre-market. So I will watch the pre-market activity when I wake up, whether that's 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning, and then generally trade them once the market opens. And I have a quick feel in the first 5 minutes of what the momentum is going to do. You've all seen those stocks that open strong for the first 2 ticks and then crater as all the pre-market people sell off. So I generally don't make rough decisions till maybe 1 or 2 5-minute bars are in. Do I miss some run up sometimes on plays? Yes, but I also miss a lot of the nasty drops that happen right when the market opens. Wedmore says, why is everyone talking about MGAM on your channel? We called that one out as a potential play to keep an eye on for next week. Let me see if I can pull something up on them real quick. Again, none of these are guarantees, guys. But at a very high level, Mobile Global Esports just did their IPO July 28th, 1.5 million shares. So this is a low float stock at a IPO price of $4 per share. And what I want you to note is that the underwriter has a 30-day over allotment option to issue another 225,000 shares. So within the next 30 days, at any time, the underwriter can automatically just dilute 15%. So that is good info to know that maybe nobody else is telling you. But low float stocks, if retail piles into them, can be an interesting price run up. But you are, as Teddy said, and I've said here many, many times, these are retail against retail plays. You're not fighting a hedge fund on this stock. You're fighting other people that aren't paying attention to YouTube or Twitter or Reddit, or maybe missed the first day of news, and now they're trying to play catch up, or people that just hesitate. You probably all know a guy who loves to eat ribeye and jump on stocks after they've been running 5 days, right? That's who you're going to be selling to. But if you get the call out early on some of these, you're going to make big gains. Not on all of them. Not all of them are going to run. You're going to lose money on some. But if you get in early, if you're tuned into these tickers and they start running as you're watching them and you put a little bit of money on them, don't go crazy if you don't know what you're doing. And like I said, we're usually watching the 1 and 5 minute bars. And my general rule for myself is don't jump in right when the market opens. Give it a couple 5 minute bars. Is the volume holding up? Is the volume growing? If the volume's growing, good signal. If the price is going up over a couple 5 minute bars, good signal. I mean, that's like the bare level entry analysis of what I'm doing on price and volume. But if things are moving in pre-market and they continue to move when the market opens, it could be a runner for that day. Could be. So this is just one to keep an eye on. That's all. I'm not saying I have no crystal ball to tell you what it's going to do. Retail is a fickle beast. They could be in and out. The broker, the underwriter could do dilution. Anything literally could happen. But if it's running, maybe you want to try it. TMI's baby mama, Cassius, what's going on? You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, Cassius, he's our contra indicator. I've been watching him real close on TBLT, waiting for him to say, there's going to be a day where he gets mad at watching Teddy and John make money on TBLT. All right, Teddy Zane, I'm in on Toughbuilt. Ape Father out. That is the day we sell all our Toughbuilt. For sure, if you're still holding Toughbuilt and that video gets made in New Jersey, get the fuck out. He called the top perfectly on Redbox when he made his video saying he was buying Redbox. He's got a great track record, just needs to reverse the polarity on his thinking. He's got a unique skill at calling the top, but he needs to get better at buying early and then use the skill at calling the top to get out. Love you, Richie. We love you. Just a quick update since I mentioned Toughbuilt. I did get a chance to read through the official 8K, which finally got filed. And good Lord, it's a long document, you guys. Really long document. Talking about common stock and preferred shares and the option to purchase additional shares. Yeah. There's like 4 buckets of dilution that are coming up. And it's coming on Toughbuilt. But, and I know people are saying it's a private placement. Don't worry, those can't be sold in the public. See, this is the extra step I take is to actually read the whole document, not just see the words private placement and stop there. Yes, if it was a private placement and you were a private investor and you bought shares, technically you're not allowed to sell those into the market. That's technically correct. But in the wording of this private placement, in the fine print, Toughbuilt was required by the investor to immediately file a registration statement to allow the resale of that private placement into the market. So all of those shares will be coming into the market as common stock dilution. What does it depend on? If you keep on reading into that, the company is immediately required, Toughbuilt is immediately required to file a registration statement with the SEC to allow resale of the private placement. And so now we're in the waiting process of the SEC. And how many days that could be, I don't know. It could be 1 day, it could be a week, it could be up to a maximum of 75 days. The wording said in no cases longer than 75 days. So I can't tell you when, but the dilution's coming. And that's why the market reacted so bad on Toughbuilt when that dilution notice came. The dilution's coming. The SEC is going to approve it. Now Toughbuilt got a breath of life breathed back into it. And I think this was 100% planned, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just so fucking sick of companies yanking retail around. This was planned. Announce the dilution, let the bad news soak in, and then announce a partnership with Ace Hardware so that they pump it back up, so that retail piles back in. And good if you made money piling back in. I'm not shitting on anybody who's making money. I'm just angry that these corporations and CEOs are yanking retail around. Why would they announce the dilution and then the Ace Hardware? They knew that announcing the dilution was going to have a negative effect on the stock. They also knew that they wanted you to buy it up to $8 before they announced it. And so that it would only drop down to a certain level. The strike price on those warrants, I think, is $5. So they want the stock price over $5. So when the stock started trickling down to $4, hey, you got that Ace Hardware press release ready? Send it. We just fell below $5. Our investors getting pissed. We told them the warrants, you'd be able to sell them over $5. I think this is 100% planned. And I think they want it to be above $5 until the investor can get all the dilution out. So I have no idea what's going to happen with Toughbuilt. It's going to be volatile. Don't ask me if it's going to run again. Sure, it could. Absolutely. If retail keeps piling in. Or if retail moves on to a shinier object, it could trickle down and that private investor wasted their money buying those warrants. Anything's possible when retail is involved. I have no way of judging what millions of people are going to do. That's why typically when I'm in these plays, I might be in them 15 minutes. I might be in them an entire day. But I rarely hold them overnight. And the guys in the Discord can tell you that. It is a lot for me to risk holding them overnight, knowing what can happen in pre-market. Any news, world, global, US, Wall Street, or company specific can send those things tanking, like what happened to Toughbuilt a couple days ago. News item, you just never know. I don't like carrying that kind of risk overnight. I'll make money on it during the day, get out at the end of the day. And if it's running the next day, I might miss the gap up. I might. And that's okay. If it's still running the next day, I'll play it again on a separate play the next day. You got to decide what kind of risk you want to tolerate. And if you like hitting singles, or you want to go for a home run every time. I tend to play it safe so that my winners outweigh my losers. Yuka Frita, when did they decide, or how did they decide to add options to a ticker? Yuka Frita, I was looking at those rules a couple weeks ago. I already forgot them. It has to do with the minimum price of the stock and the minimum float. I don't remember what it was, but maybe I'll do a video just for you on that. When are they allowed to have options? But I think the real answer to your question is sometimes they do options even when they're not allowed to, if they think they can take your money, right? The market maker, if he thinks he can get away with it and he can get it approved, hey, let's get an options chain on this ticker. Retail really wants them. They'll take your money and then they'll manipulate the fuck out of it and keep your money. But there are rules. You can go to the CBOE and look up the rules. And I have it archived somewhere. I'll maybe do a 2-minute video on that. It's a good question. 24 The Money says, Toughbuilt product made in China or USA? I don't know. I actually like Toughbuilt products. I own some of them. I have nothing against the company. The company's just losing money like it's going out of style. Like that's what I said a couple weeks ago that pissed people off. God damn it. Tony, why do you gotta talk about the whole picture? Just let us play our momentum. I like to understand the entire picture of a company, and I like to share that with you guys. That doesn't mean don't play the momentum. Don't be stupid. If the momentum is running, play it. I'm just sharing details with you. It's up to you to decide what to do with it. But if I think there's something important you should know that no one else is telling you, because it might factor in how long you hold or what your price target is, I'm going to tell you. Yeah, some people don't like that. Some people think that's me being negative on a stock. I had someone in the comments today said, Tony, why are you talking about these other tickers? I thought you hated all shitty companies. You're not hearing what I'm saying. Always play momentum if that's what you want to do. It could be irrelevant, any news about the company. But if you're willing to hear some additional facts about the company, it might help you not be a bag holder. If you're willing to hear from Tony Denaro that dilution is probably coming, it might save you from not holding that stock overnight so you don't get a 40% drop in the stock price in pre-market. Toughbuilt. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm trying to help you guys. Hollywood says, am I getting into any of these 3 plays? Hollywood, I can assure you that all of these tickers that I posted this morning, in addition to any other runners that are moving in pre-market tomorrow, I will be watching. And typically I start making up my mind in the pre-market. I don't get in them in pre-market. I wait until about 2 5-minute bars minimum once the market opens. Unless, if it's a compelling case like DWOC, Digital World, remember when that one IPO'd? That was an easy in my brain. And there's some that are just no-brainers. A competitor to Twitter and Facebook that's supported by 50% of the country. Yeah, I think that one's going to run. I don't need to know much more to get on that as soon as I can. As soon as we learned about DWOC, we got on it and we made a fuck ton of money and then got out completely out of that play at the top. Played it for a couple days. That was a year ago, right? But other plays like an IPO play where you know nothing about the company or a SPAC merger that I don't really know if it's going to be a great deal or not, I'm going to be a little more cautious on stepping in. I can't give you a firm, yes, I'm going to play all those plays. I can't say that like Teddy. I'm going to be watching all of them and I might play some of them. And if I do, it will be in the Discord. We'll be talking about it. But I can't say right now till I see pre-market. They're all on my watch list. They're all potential opportunities. And there will be more besides those by the time we get to tomorrow morning. All right. Arnold says, what is up with AMC tomorrow? Good question. Maybe a good way to end this stream. Hang on one second, Arnold. Let me take a little puff pass here off the vape machine. Pam, what's up, Pam? See if my battery's still working on the Drag X. Woo! All right. Sorry. Turn the camera off for the YouTube auditors. What is going to happen with AMC next week? Tomorrow. Wow, that hit me hard. Big shot of nicotine after not having a hit for 2 hours. Tomorrow and into earnings, I think that what is going to happen with AMC is going to be, to some extent, what happens with the market, but we also have potential for some positive buoyancy going into the earnings. I think it's going to be a earnings beat. It's going to beat the average estimates. That is my call. And I already have September $16 calls in place on AMC. Depending on what the price action does in the first half of the day tomorrow, I might go in and add some more short-term calls expiring in 2 weeks. I'm going to decide when I see what the market does in the morning and what AMC does. If the market's a wave of red in the morning, AMC could get dragged down, and that might be a chance to pick up some calls even cheaper. So hard to say for sure. I think that we've been fairly well insulated from market downturns. Maybe it was buoyancy in sympathy with GameStop running up prior to the split. I don't know. But I think we're in good shape. I mean, the chart is looking pretty good in the short term. Everything, a lot of the next direction of this stock is going to hinge on Thursday. Hollywood says what I think of Kevin free from it all. I've tried talking with Kevin Hollywood. Seems like a nice guy. He calls out good plays. I tried sharing some of my DD with him, and I think he took it the wrong way. Maybe, I'm very blunt in my communication. And I drop facts, and people that are bullish on a stock as a momentum play sometimes don't want to know facts. So I have nothing against Kevin. Seems like a great dude. Maybe one day we can be friends. I have nothing against him or John. You guys already know I love Teddy. Some of these guys just don't understand my style of looking at the entire play. And I do that so that I don't lose money, or that I got to know, do I want to hold this stock overnight, or am I just going to day trade it daily? So I attempt to share facts or additional due diligence. I told them about the dilution coming on Toughbuilt, and they shit talked me for days and then acted surprised when the dilution got announced. You're trying to help some people and they get angry and then act like you never told them it was going to happen. I was not saying don't play the play. I said, be aware, dilution is coming. I can't help how they receive the message. And maybe one day we can all work together. I love to make money on plays just like they do. And I think I provide a experienced amount of due diligence that maybe they're not doing, that they could occasionally benefit from. Eight Blazing says they get their feelings hurt so easily talking bad about their stocks. That is the thing, the message I would like to see changed. When I'm giving you guys a full picture, I'm not talking bad about a stock. I'm giving you nuggets to put in the back of your brain to consider if you're investing in it, that this could happen, so that you're factoring that into your decision about what is your price target. Wouldn't you rather have more information when you're putting thousands of dollars on the line than less? It doesn't mean don't buy it, don't play momentum, but being more informed is better than being less informed. We will make money off of the people that are less informed in the long run. I guarantee you that. On this channel, we will make more money than the people that are less informed, because we're not going to be holding when these things drop. We're not going to be holding when something drops 40%. We're going to understand the play, understand the momentum, get in, get out. And if it warrants getting back in, you get back in. Everyone's different. I can't give you hard and fast rules. Every play is different. Eight Blazing says, all I want is hopium. Lie to me, Tony, lie. They call me Pinocchio, Eight Blazing. Now, what is that joke? What did something about Goldilocks and Pinocchio? All right. Speaking of getting up early and checking on plays, we've been going here about 2 hours. It's 10:30 at night. I have not eaten dinner yet today. 10:42 at night. I should probably try and eat something. I got to hang out with the folks in the Discord, wrap up evening questions, and get our game plan on for tomorrow. And then try and get a few hours sleep. Scarlett will be getting home from work at 4 a.m. She said, I hope you're awake when I get home. Lord, this is going to change my life, having her get off work at 4 a.m. and expect to have conversations. Gotta love our ladies, right? Hollywood says, keep reaching out to Kevin. Please trust me. He's looking out for us just like you. I like his style, Hollywood. I have nothing against him. I agree. He's looking out for you, and he does a fair job of warning people about the risks and taking profits. I like what I hear. He's a little bit lacking in due diligence. That's nothing against him. That's just that comes with experience, and the invitation is always there to work together. The more eyes you can have looking for plays, the better we as retail that are paying close attention to this can be successful in making money. And then you are winning by being in early on these plays. You're winning against the people who aren't paying attention until they see it already running up for 2 or 3 days. Like my buddy in New Jersey. He's not paying attention. You got to be paying attention early. Get in early. Get out early. Diaz says, you can do it. Be up at 4 a.m. Lucky for me, since today was her first day and their work week ends today, it's just one night this week. Then she has like 3 days off. And then next week, she starts back on Wednesday with these crazy shifts. I think Wednesday, she told me. So I got one night to suffer through being woken up at probably 4:30. And you know what? If I'm up at 4:30 because she's getting home, she's going to be going to sleep. If I can't go back to sleep, I will be looking at pre-market and already typing in the Discord what the where we're at for the morning plays. So if you're in the group already, don't be surprised to see me early birding it tomorrow morning. Good things coming for AMC. I'm going to do tomorrow an update on where I'm at with GameStop and what I think is going on with that. It is, as I've been telling the folks in my group for the past couple days, at a pivotal point right here with these candles narrowing down and flattening We got this channel. I did a video on this Monday morning, giving you my rundown, what all these lines mean, this purple one and these blue ones. Go back and watch that Monday live stream. It's 1 hour. You can just scroll through to the part where you see the GME chart that looks just like this. I'll do an update in the next day or so on what I think is going to happen with GameStop. And as always, we remain ever hopeful that Ryan Cohen announces a real catalyst, a transformational change for this company that takes it and the stock to a new level. So go GameStop, go AMC, go every freaking momentum trade out there. Go you and go me. Let's make some money. Get some sleep, guys. Go check out who's ever doing the late night streams. If you're on the West Coast or a night owl or in the UK, shout out to our Europe friends. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your support. Lots of good stuff coming up next week. I will be for sure live streaming the AMC earnings. And depending on how busy we're doing on day trading these momentum plays, I'll do my best to come in and do some live streams during the week. But it is really hard for me to concentrate on watching these plays and read comments. So a lot of times what I do is I'll get all my trades done in the morning and then come on live after that. So we'll just take it day by day. Love you guys. Have a good night. Hopefully we'll get Massalorian on for the next one of these. I hope his move went well this weekend, getting his studio set up. I'll try and catch up with him this week and get back to the two-person live streams going forward and some other guests coming up for you guys as well. Take care. Have a good night.